What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fi, Eric Sheethaber. We're going to be talking through this. What did I just get a note from?
Huge slate.
This big MLB slate with no weather concerns. Really, the only weather was might be a little bit of rain where you're at, actually. But
No, that's it's. I think it's going to be all gone. I mean, it's
yeah,
yeah. I'm not too worried about that.
should play either way. But we've got it. So nice, clean 12-game slate. Like it's and then we've got big NBA stuff. We've got still got the two gamers going. I did not like pull a sheets last night and win the money, but I did. I think I've gotten so many DMs because of my Kaminga take. A lot of guys who won all the money are very appreciative. So I'm glad the guy who won the alley oop last night.
How many did he score? 25, 30?
I think he had more than that.
Okay.
Well, he may have had 30 something. But the game was a blowout. They actually they treated him like a starter by the way they pulled him. You know what I mean? So it was a little bit tricky at the end. I needed a couple more minutes because I cashed in almost every lineup because that was all you needed.
Wow, cool.
But I didn't make anything significant, but I had some chances. But anyway, Sheets, off of a great win. And I know you talked about it earlier a little bit.
Yeah, but just for the people that weren't there, I just wanted to remind people about the variance in baseball, and I say that because for those that didn't hear this, I played, there were 2 4-game slates yesterday. Okay. One of them was the afternoon slate, and the other one obviously was the main slate. And in the afternoon slate, I played pretty much the same process. I used my projections. I did, I didn't do anything with the stacks really, and I just relied on whatever. And I got some kind of offbeat stacks, and I literally in 60 lineups and a big buy-in, I cashed for $0. Okay, literally zero. Okay, and that's kind of hard to do on a 4-game slate.
Yeah,
with 60 lineups. And last night I did the exact same process with the exact same thing. Nothing changed, and took down the monster. You know what I mean? So that's just what baseball is. You know what I mean? There's a lot of variance. It's not like basketball where the projections are just going to hold every day, give or take a few dollars. You know what I mean? It's tough, and you got to have a little faith, and you have to be able to ride through downswings if you're playing right, to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the way it held was obviously, as usual. I run like Jesus when it comes to closing these things out. I mean, first of all, I had nothing going in the last 2 games pretty much, and I ended up and the top of the 8th, Dalton Varsho was like up, and he hit a home run, and I'm like, oh man, I have a feeling the guy that's behind me has Dalton Varsho, and he did. But then, like, before they counted, I'm like, ooh, I wonder I forgot how much a home run is on FanDuel. And I did the math in my head, and he got within 0.3 of me with the home run. I'm like, okay, good. Right? So I held that off. And then, of course, I had to, literally get like 7 Blue Jays out in a row at the end to win and then no problem. So that was definitely fun. It was really interesting. So today I did an early preview. I went through pretty much all the sports with the people that were on there. It was
nice.
Pretty cool actually. And I don't know what I have now because I just did the builds, but my initial builds today for this evening, so funny. First I went through the projections. I'm like, okay, so the Padres are going to look great. The forgot who else I said, the Baltimore, Yankees, all these teams, and these pitchers are going to look like kind of just okay. And then I said, no, watch, we're going to run the sims. We're probably going to get like 0 Padres. And we're probably going to get 0 this, 0 that. And it turns out when I looked at it, I was saying, wow, this is weird. I'm getting like Padres. I'm getting lots. How is this possible? And the reason why, I was getting like almost all like double pay down pitchers. I was getting like what's the guy's name? Not Freeland. Kyle Hendricks with like other guys. You know what I mean? So you can't have everything. You can't play chalk with chalk. Something has got to give. So right. I'm going to try. I just ran my builds now. I'm curious what I end up with. What are you getting on DraftKings?
Yeah, so let me just jump back over to DraftKings. I was just updating my FanDuel. So on DraftKings, so I did go out of my way and change some things for what I like today. I do like the later games, which is just again, it's gonna be up in Saberson's hands in a lot of ways because we have a nice late swap slate, and I like Baltimore, the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the A's the best, and those games all start at 9:38 Eastern or later. I actually was thinking about the other ones: San Francisco, a little bit of Tampa Bay, a little bit of Minnesota, a little bit of Milwaukee, but Dodgers and a little bit of Arizona. But the Dodgers, Yankees, Athletics, and Baltimore are my main stacks. And the good thing is because we have this giant total at Coors. Now it's obviously scary to not have Coors and everything. Coors is going to be lower owned than it usually will, just because it's a big slate and there's other good spots. The Rockies are going to be very low owned, so that's something else you could do. But because there is Coors and it's going to take up some of it, you're getting a really low owned Dodgers and a really I think the Yankees are going to actually be the most popular team on the slate. So that's the one I'll probably just use as my side stacks. That's where I'm at. What are you getting to?
So I am getting, and I'm playing the that knuckleball, whatever the hell they're calling that thing, that whatever. And I am playing. So I'm playing a full 150 in that one. I have a grand total of one lineup with the Padres.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we shall see. I have
tons of.
I have 75 of those lineups with ye Los Angeles Dodgers. So
yeah,
well, because they probably have a bunch of the bad players in them, right? I'm just guessing that they have like the value guys that are probably.
They don't have a lineup out yet, so
I don't even know. That's what I'm saying. Like, so I don't even know if that's going to hold, because if the lineup's different than I think it might be, then we're going to have to be,
Well, they just don't. I mean, they've got the most guys on the injured list in the history of baseball. I guess they expanded the injured list or whatever. I don't know how that's possible, but so there's not really a whole lot. Like, there's no way you're not going to get some cheap Dodgers in there.
Right.
Whether it's now, there is more pinch hit risk now because they brought up Outman. So like Chris Taylor, Kike Hernandez, who will probably start, Rojas. There's pinch hit risk for all those guys, although Rojas less so because they probably are going to need his glove. But yeah, they're cheaper, and it's going to make you able to get to them a little bit easier. And Erod is a pretty good pitcher, but he has definitely some blow up sides to him, and the Dodgers just crush everybody. So it doesn't necessarily matter that much, and it's a great hitting conditions.
What are you getting pitching wise today?
Hunter Brown is my highest owned pitcher at the moment. Followed by, I'm telling you, it's a weird pitching slate because I don't particularly think it's a great pitching slate, to be honest with you. You have good pitchers in tough matchups. I mean, you got Nola here in a pick'em game with Cleveland with a 4-run projected total, and I'm getting a bunch of him, but I'm not sure I want all that. Max Meyer is probably the guy I'll use in my highest buy-ins going against the White Sox. And then I've got Gaussman next, and everybody else for me is below 10%. But Hunter Brown is by far and away my highest owned. How about you?
Yeah, my highest owned by a decent amount is Gaussman.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Hunter Brown after that, and then Nola, and then some sprinkles like some Gavin Williams just to save money, some Luis Castillo. I even have 10% of the Oswaldo Beto, just for.
Yeah, I mean, that game has the biggest total outside of Colorado, and yet the pitchers were showing up a little bit when I ran some things earlier.
Yeah, just to get to some other hitters, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I have 21 pitchers that I'm using to some degree. So, but 46% of them of the lineups are going to have Gaussman, and 32% are going to have Hunter Brown, 20% again of Nola. So I don't want to say that I have like all this exposure to, Zach, not Zach. Zach Littell is not that bad, but I don't want to say I have like 25% Tomoki Sugano or whoever else. And what about this guy from the Dodgers?
Sasaki?
Yeah.
Bad matchup. He hasn't been especially good yet.
Okay.
Now I think he is good, and it will. We'll
can he get like 12? Can he get 12 fantasy points? I mean, like.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just throwing some numbers out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he can get 20. It's not a great matchup for him. I mean, threw 98 pitches in his last start. That's reassuring. The strikeout upside hasn't been there like I think people thought it would be. Usually, you know, when you bring in especially foreign pitchers, guys tend to have trouble hitting them, and the strikeouts just have not been very good for him, and it's not a great matchup for that either.
You said you were you just came from FanDuel. What are you doing over there?
I'll tell you once my screen stops freezing.
Oh, it's so funny.
Doing it again. Kind of driving me a little bit. It really makes it tough because you know some of those times you have to act in, like right now we got plenty of time, but like when you get to 5 minutes before lock and it starts doing this, it just gets a little tilting. To be honest with you.
Well, I'll start with mine then. For me, pitching wise, first again Gausman number 1, but their number 2 is Max Meyer on FanDuel for some reason. Don't know exactly why, what, where, and how, but that's what I'm getting over there. And then
that makes sense.
And then but not really on DraftKings. That's what I was going to say.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And then for the stacks, really super duper heavy on Baltimore over there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm actually my next highest owned over there is Miami, against the White Sox, whoever pitcher that is. And then the Dodgers. So it's still Dodgers on FanDuel, but a lot more of the Baltimore and Miami over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Let me just jump in. I'm gonna get over to FanDuel now that it stopped freezing for a second. I'm gonna hand build my big buy-ins over there, and I'm only playing like 33 lineups because I've got 40 in the lottery and 3 in the big one.
Okay.
But so I'm pretty sure I'll probably just use Meyer and Brown as my pitchers.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
In the big buy-ins, I will spread out to Gausman and Nola. Maybe I think there's upside. There's more upside for Gausman. I think that his projection's a little low on Saberson. You and Goldie have it higher, and I actually think you guys are closer to being right.
Yeah. So. Why is Seattle a tough matchup all of a sudden? Is that?
Yeah, and you know, we know what like Gausman has a range of outcomes. You know what's interesting though is the team with the lowest total of the night, no one's playing the pitcher against them, or at least we haven't talked about him yet. And that's Castillo against Toronto, who's got a 3.25 total. That's a very low total. That's probably something you could do to get a little different, if you wanted to. I don't know why. I'm a little confused by the whole total, and why do they have a 3.25 total anyway? It's a little low for any team. Obviously, the best pitchers park on the slate, so I think it makes sense to fire away with Gausman and probably some Castillo. I think I'm going to actually go over to DraftKings and maybe bump Castillo's projection just a little bit enough to get him. I don't know why he doesn't make a little more sense. I think he actually does. I don't usually play a ton of Castillo. But I think that he's very viable tonight, and I'm going to bump it up just a little bit. It feels a little low.
Could you go over again who I would be worried about getting pinch hit for
the Dodgers?
Yeah.
Chris Taylor would be number 1, but it really depends on when it would happen in the lineup. So it would be Taylor, Kike Hernandez if they're in the lineup, which they're expected to be, and there is a small chance for Rojas, but I don't think it's as likely for him as the other guys.
Yeah, so those were guys I was actually getting a good amount of.
You're going to get him, yeah.
Yeah.
But look, it is what it is. I mean, it could work out where you don't even.
I don't know. I mean, it's a 100-game slate. Should I be doing that? You know, like.
Well, I mean, they're not going to pitch it for all of them, all 3 of them. It's probably just going to be one of them, and that will probably be either Kike or Chris Taylor would be the one who, you know, unless he's at a home run already or something. But there's a totally reasonable chance that maybe they don't. Maybe it's 9-0 and they don't do it. And what Sasaki? What made you think about Sasaki? You were just looking.
Because I was getting 3 lineups with him. I'm just like scrolling down the bottom of my list. You know what I mean? Like I just want to make sure he's an actual pitcher. You know what I mean? Like I don't.
Yeah, he threw 98 pitches in his last start.
Oh, okay. So that's what I was saying. That's all.
His projection will probably never be as low as it is right now again. But hey, I think it's worth taking some shots. I did, and you and Goldie have Castillo a little higher projection. So those are the big changes I made for pitching. Where I took Hunter Brown down just a tiny bit because I didn't need to get 90% of them, just like a quarter of a point. But Castillo and Gaussman, you had basically a point higher than SaberSim does, and I think that's right. And I think that's so I'm rolling with you guys as far as those two pitchers go. I usually change my. That's what I've started doing more is using because it's hard to sometimes it doesn't have all the right players in the player pool for you and Goldie because sometimes lineups change, somebody gets scratched, something happens. But the pitching projection, so I just manually usually put your guys' in as my pitching projections because I do find them a little bit more accurate than SaberSim's, or at least more effective for me. But I think it's a late slate. I think you play the late games and you late swap. That's where I'm mostly at, with the exception of I kind of like the Giants, and I kind of like both sides of the Milwaukee Tampa Bay game, which is the first game. But and I mean, like, you got the good. It's hot out here now. I mean, I know it's in Sacramento, but it's 90 degrees out there. I mean, and then you got the hot game in Arizona, and then you've got the Angels in 85-degree weather. So all these late games look pretty damn good to me. You know who else has an upside who no one's going to play? This Sagano guy for Baltimore.
Yeah, I asked about him.
I think he can be like, I could see him having like getting lit up or putting up 30. You know, I think he's got both range of both in his arsenal.
Let me just see this.
I don't like this Gavin Williams. I don't want to play pitchers against the Phillies when I don't have to. Even though he's a decent, solid pitcher and everything. And yeah, okay. Should we talk a little bit about the NBA?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
All right, so I'll take on these games tonight. My take is Cleveland wins in Indy, and I think that Denver's the underdog here at home. I think Denver wins that game. I don't know. I could see it going either way. I do think Denver bounces back though, and I also don't think that OKC can make their first 17 threes this time.
You don't think so?
I mean, it's possible. I don't think so though.
What do you think of what's the spread in that game?
It is. Let me just grab my other sheet.
OKC by a couple of points, maybe.
No, it's more than that. I think.
Oh, really? At Denver?
They're massive favorites. Yeah.
Jeez.
No, they're but they're minus 238, so they're 6-point favorites.
Yeah, what is this? What does this world become? I guess.
I mean, OKC just beats the hell out of everyone.
They just do, don't they? Huh?
But the thing is, this is the perfect game where they're not going to win by 2. They're going to win by 15 or 20 or more, or they're going to lose. That's my take. If the game is within
what about you got to do the 9.5 straddle again?
Yeah, I know. And by the way, I got to check on the guy who does it because they must have made a fortune in this playoffs.
Must have.
It's been incredible. And by the way, there's been some incredible close games and all that stuff.
But there's also been heartbreak. There have been games that have been 25 that have ended up going the other way.
Right. That's true. I mean, look at the Memphis OKC first round game was the crazy one. One of the craziest ones.
Meanwhile, I'm going tomorrow.
Oh, awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. And that's going to be it. I mean, talk about electric atmosphere. This is probably the most on fire it's been since Larry Johnson in mid 4-point play, right?
Yep.
It's it hasn't really. I'm not forgetting a Knicks season. I don't think. I mean,
no, you're not.
It's also interesting because if they played Indiana, they'd probably be the favorite. But I still think Cleveland comes back in that series against Indiana. I hope their guys are healthy.
If they're healthy, I mean, they're all going to play tonight. Is that the story?
That's the rumor, and they're 5.5-point favorites in Indianapolis. So you better assume that they're playing.
Yeah, right.
It's pretty rare. It is kind of rare to see teams that are either tying or trailing and both pretty heavy road favorites. For what it's worth, so I think the coach of the Pacers is the man. I love that they just do things differently. That they just push, and it's totally the opposite of how he used to coach. But I think that they have a real identity, and I don't know about them getting 5.5 points at home when they've never lost a home game Halliburton's never lost a home game.
It's sort of nuts, you know what I mean? I'm glad I don't bet sports anymore. I mean,
You do sometimes.
But what, 2 games a year? I mean, like whatever.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It is kind of wild, and yeah. And for
I'm getting the freaking Nuggets at home, like getting points. I'm like, what the hell, you know? And
yeah,
and then I'm getting the Pacers at home plus points. I mean,
yeah, and like pretty decent. Like, I mean, the Nuggets they're plus 195 tonight. The Pacers are plus 170. These are big numbers at home. Like for a team, the Pacers are up 2-0 in the series. I don't know. It's just kind of wild to see. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who have apparently been making a killing on these parlays, betting these underdogs.
So who is the DFS hoodoo today then?
Okay, so this is SaberSim is a lot hotter on Westbrook. Their projection is like almost 3 points higher than yours and Goldie's, which is pretty big number. I actually lowered his projection because I was getting 100% of them. Now I've got 85% of them.
Okay.
I do think he's going to steam, but also you can always swap in the later games. I think Michael Porter Jr. is absolutely hurt, and he's playing through it. But he's 4,400 now, and by the way, the best on off of any player in the postseason. Do you know who it is? Versus the best 1v1 swap. Other than no, it's actually higher than Jokic versus DeAndre Jordan. It's Westbrook instead of Michael Porter Jr.
Oh, really?
The best plus minus guy, which is just kind of wild. I think. Oh, you know what though? That stat was before the game the other night, so that might have changed. Although he actually was, his part was Porter was like minus 40. He was like minus 15 or 20 or something. You know.
I think Michael Porter, what is his price in Classic today?
4,400.
I mean, don't you sort of have to try it?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's going to be popular too. But I mean, they're only playing. No matter what, he's going to play minutes. They're only playing like 6.5. They play a little bit of Watson. They don't play many guys, so no matter what, they're going to play the minutes. My hoodoo from the other night, which the other one that worked well, was the Wiggins. I think that, taking a shot on any of the OKC guys always just feels like you're doing just that. You're taking a shot. Caruso, after his 4 fantasy point game, is probably bounces back tonight.
What about Ty Jerome after his 4 fantasy point game?
Well, Ty Jerome, though, with all these guys back, but that's what makes it interesting because he's like the one.
So he's going to be like an incredible tournament player. Is that the story?
Yeah, he's going to get run. The one who I think his projections are too low on Chet. Oops. I think the projections are too low on Chet. I think the projections are too low on all of the Cleveland guys. I mean, all the starters, and except for Ty Jerome. That one might not be. That's what I bumped up was the Cleveland guys. Garland, Mobley. These guys are not like, if they come back, they're going to play the minutes. It's not like they're going to come and just play 28 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So they're going to be effective. So I think you want to be heavy on Cleveland.
I'll tell you who was showing up as clearly the top value, and I presume he's going to be super chalky, is Jamal Murray, in Classic. I thought that he was going to. Maybe he could be. I thought he'd be the most popular.
Yeah, I lowered his projection for what it's worth.
Did you?
I mean, show me something. Like this is a Murray. We know how talented he is, but this is like the nightmare matchup. If you're a guard, you're like dead against this OKC team. Westbrook will get his because he goes out in transition and all that stuff, and he's so aggressive. But Murray, he's looked terrible. And by the way, outside of that one monster game of the Clippers, he basically hasn't gotten there. He's gotten there twice in all of their 9 games so far this postseason. Yeah, I guess you can call the first game. So 2.5 times you'd say he got there. I like the idea of trying to get a little bit under on Murray, and just saying, okay, this is gonna be the Jokic 100-pointer. I think Jokic will be in almost all my lineups.
So I have an interesting thing that happened. So I ran my projections and I ran my sims this morning with everybody here, and I saw two things that I saw one thing that was like really just shocking to me. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to do this. But then I basically I gave everybody a speech, but don't worry about the outputs. But I figured it will all change, when the projection's updated. I still, no matter what I do, no matter how many I run, continue to get 0 of Donovan Mitchell. Like no matter what I do.
It's just because the price.
I guess, but that's kind of bizarre in a way.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I'm not getting much of him either, and I even raised his projection, and it's still not giving me him.
Just what's his price? Like
he's 9,500. He's priced for what's Garland being out.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that's the issue. But
okay.
But then again, like it's okay. Let's just compare it. Like Garland versus Murray. Garland's going to have 1/5 the ownership of Murray. Why not Garland versus Murray here? I like the. How about we play Garland instead of Murray at the same price? That's something different you could do.
Okay, so I'm also getting like 6% of Michael Porter Jr. I mean, what is going on? What is happening here? How do we not play 100% of him?
Well, because you've got
he's been bad. Is that it? He's been bad, right?
Well, actually, I don't know why you're not getting him because I think he's going to be really popular. Maybe that's
Maybe that's why I'm not getting him. I don't know. But what does he start? He's not starting or something?
Yeah, he's starting. I mean, unless they change, I don't think they're going to change.
I mean, he's starting on a 2-game slate. And he's 4,400. I don't know how he's not going to be 50%.
Well, right? So is Lou Dort.
Oh, I guess so.
So is Alex Caruso, who plays a lot of those Lou Dort minutes. I guess that's the answer.
What's my projection on him at 22? I mean, like.
Yeah, that's not even that bad for that price.
What is
well,
this?
you know who's coming off the worst game, one of the worst games ever is Christian Braun. Maybe his projection could do a little raising.
No, I have 22 fantasy points for Michael Porter Jr. That's really the case, huh?
I mean, he's basically been there.
I guess so, huh?
He's had 17 in the last game, 10 in the first game. He's only been over 23 times in the playoffs.
That's like so strange. I mean,
well, it's West. I mean, even when he played 42 in 37 minutes, he's still not putting out much. Well, because he's basically become their offense just runs Jokic and Murray when it matters, and then Westbrook takes on a lot of the other stuff, and then Gordon, is their
right. Yeah, I'm with you. By the way, I have like 85% Jokic as well.
Yeah, I think it's hard to avoid. This feels like the spot where he goes nuts. And like you may not, it doesn't even need to be scoring. Yeah, I mean the three best projected point per dollar plays are these guys, are the Denver guys, Westbrook, Jokic, and Murray, and it's partly because they have such a short rotation. They've sort of become the Knicks. I think you kind of just have to. Yeah, you're probably going to end up with like 3 Nuggets in all your lineups at least, maybe 4.
More than that, I think. I mean.
Yeah, I think that's what the deal is, as they say. But I like the first game better, and I like the under in the Denver OKC game, and I like the over in the Cleveland Indiana game.
Those Indiana, man, they really push that pace, don't they?
Yeah, and so does Cleveland.
Yeah.
It's now that they got rid of their. The guy who I think is a terrible coach, who you kind of like,
who
Bickerstaff.
I had no comment on him.
Oh, I thought you liked him for some reason.
I had no comment. I just a big turnaround. That was all.
Yeah, but I mean, look at Cleveland without him. It's,
right.
Yeah, it's one of those weird years. It's kind of weird to have 2 coaches, like the former coach, like they were both in the top 3 for Coach of the Year.
Yep.
So yeah, so I guess maybe not. I think Chet's being underprojected. I think Chet's a guy who could have a game. I also think that Hartenstein, he was my other big play from the other night, and he's not getting a ton of love either.
What about getting a lot of Neesmith? Not really.
No. Boy, SaberSim's projection really doesn't like him.
Yeah, I'm getting 43% of him right now.
Yeah, I think I'd. So like that the question you ask yourself, like the Neesmith versus Braun.
Right.
But Neesmith has been awesome.
He's good.
He's a really good player, but he's been like incredibly good.
Yep.
But okay, so here's my sneaky one for the night. Here's who wins all the money.
Okay.
Benedict Mathurin will be on the winning lineup.
Ooh, and there you have it, huh?
But he's not. Unfortunately, he's getting ownership too because they dropped his price a little bit. Damn it. But he's going to be on the. That's my take is that I think you're going to see the Mathurin. So that's why. So I'm getting Mathurin and I'm not getting Neesmith, which kind of makes sense because if that's the angle that I'm taking. I think it's logical. I think it's logical enough. Boy, they tightened their rotation. This is not the playing 40 guys anymore. Pacers exactly. They'll give the guys a couple minutes, but not anything significant outside of Mathurin and Toppin and McConnell off the bench. I guess an 8-man rotation. It's pretty normal. TJ McConnell, but he's going to have some ownership as well.
Is he?
Because everyone's going to try and get Jokic. Yeah, he's 3,700.
Oh yeah, wow.
Obi Toppin, him.
They're both 3,700, and they're going to play. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they're going to play, and that's all you can ask for, really. I mean, I'm wondering. I thought Caruso might come in lower owned than he is, which I'm a little disappointed to see. If you wanted a real weird one, Cason Wallace maybe.
Ooh,
maybe that's the one you can talk yourself into. I don't mind that idea, but again, it's a late swap thing, and I think maybe it's more for not showdown because he's going to play no matter what. Like he's going to play the same amount of minutes, maybe more minutes than Caruso. And he's 3,400.
Well, I will say this: I am going to get out of here shortly. In the Dodgers lineup out yet or no? Probably not, right?
Not yet. Probably will be very shortly. I think they're just trying to figure it out with the teams always use the injuries as an excuse to late.
Let me see. I mean, I did run a showdown thing for the showdown slate. I wonder how many Jokic captains I have.
I have 50%.
50?
48, yeah.
Let me just see what I have here. And that you'll probably have to run that one again, but yeah, I have 28% captain, and I got all kinds of nonsense. But the majority is Jokic, and then Shea and Jalen Williams. Those are always at the top.
Yeah.
And then wonder if I have Jokic in every lineup. No, I'm like under. I have like 72% total ownership on Jokic.
It's hard to see how that comes through.
Right. You mean the other 28%?
Yeah. Like last game, I could have talked myself into it because I thought that the blowout was coming. It's hard to see how he doesn't end up on a lineup.
Yeah, I know. Very difficult.
But I guess it's possible. I mean, it's just would take a very strange set of circumstances. I'll tell you that. It would take the Jamal Murray 50 real life point game or something.
Or an injury,
Or yeah, but he's like he doesn't. I don't think I've ever seen him fall down.
No, he's indestructible.
He's like a monster. Have you seen his brothers, by the way?
No.
They're like bigger than he is.
Oh my God.
They make him look. It's crazy to me. Like this family. He's so good. You got to see the worst of the Jokic games.
Oh,
too.
I'll tell you who the big chalk is. Aaron Wiggins is 1,600.
Yeah, I actually have Wiggins as captain.
Yeah, you got it, right?
Yeah, that way you can get everybody in. But
yeah, and you could even play like an Isaiah Joe captain also, maybe.
I think that one would be frisky, but it's possible.
Risky. We're talking about showdown with 700,000 people.
No, I know. But on a more real note, I do think that both Chet and Hartenstein make for reasonable captain options. Because people don't realize those guys are not like just set big men. They're like they run offense through them, and they set people up. They get the assists. If you're going to bet against Shea having the monster game, it's going to be Jalen Williams or one of those two.
There was so weird a wild finish, by the way. The other day, you weren't around. In the FanDuel NBA monster, the one where Gordon, what was the game where Gordon hit the winner when Westbrook passed him the ball?
Yeah,
it was. I was a pretty big favorite down the stretch to win that. It was like a small one, like 10,000 for first or whatever.
Yeah,
but and then like all kinds of variations happened. And at the end, when they fouled, I didn't have Shea, so when Shea cut back door and he made that layup, like damn it. And then they fouled, and then on the last inbounds play when they got the ball to Holmgren. So if they inbounded the ball to Shea, Shea would have made 2 free throws. I would have been out of first, right? So shit. So they inbounded to Holmgren, who I had, and I'm like, okay, no problem.
Oh, then he missed them.
He makes even 1 of 2. Like I win it by myself, right? So the first one misses, and then the second one misses, and then Braun gets the rebound, who I have. Okay. He pitches it to Westbrook, who I don't have, who threw the assist to Gordon, who made a 3, who I did have. And in my head, I had no idea what the result of that was. You know what I mean? That whole parlay. And then as it turns out, I ended up chopping first.
That is unlucky.
Guys, I didn't know. I could have been anything. I could have been 5th after that. You know, I really didn't know.
Yeah.
I knew that if Holmgren made the free throws, I'd be okay. But he missed them both. But then my guy got the rebound. Ooh. And then Westbrook got this, just like, oh. But Gordon would have said yes. I'm like, okay, what the hell just happened? So then I had to see when everything updated. So that was a really effed up sequence.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, two game slates. You know, we have not so many combinations. Everybody's got everybody.
We don't got that much longer either with the 2 gamers.
Oh, I know. We got to relish the 2 gamers, right?
Yeah. How about the guy won the shoot around last night on his own? That was. So I was pissed at myself when I didn't think, like when I thought about the game afterwards. I said it was going to be a blowout. How the hell did I not come up with Trace Jackson Davis? I just don't even know how I didn't think of it. You know what he was owned in Showdown? 1% Sheets.
I know. What's his name? What's it? The Big T had him. I
know. For a minute, I was right behind him. I was in the 4-man thing that was ready to jump him.
Oh, okay.
So we had some stuff going.
Oh, somebody won it solo last night?
Somebody won it solo.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
even the Big T one, it was like literally all the guys who only played. There was only one other guy, I think, in the whole thing that played him. You know.
Right.
All
right, I'm gonna get out of here. And I'm pretty much mostly gone this weekend. I have the
same here.
I put the MMA. I did MMA. I'm gonna do one more MMA video before I leave tomorrow, and then I got the Knick game, and then we're going to the city for Mother's Day on Sunday.
Awesome.
And I will. Well, I'm sure you'll hear from me at some point. But worst case, I'll see you Monday.
Enjoy the Knick game. Look forward to hearing about it.